Welcome back to Build a Mobile App in 2 Hours. In this session, we'll be creating and previewing the PlanetHopper app. The PlanetHopper app is a mobile app that will be using the Quick App template as a way to get started a little bit faster. We'll be adding an application icon from the downloaded resources zip, which will help us set the application's icon and its primary color. Once we have the basics set up, we'll take a look at Service Studio and some of the elements of the PlanetHopper app, and then we'll publish the app and preview it as an emulator in the browser, and then we'll also view the app in our phone. So let's get started. During the previous session, we opened the Quick App template and previewed it in the browser. Here we can see it has a module named template_quickapp. This is what registers this as a template and allows it to be used for other applications. Let's go back to Applications in Development, where we can see the Quick App template and all the dependencies that were downloaded. We'd like to create a new app, so let's click New Application, and we can see it opens the New Application wizard. The first thing we need to do is choose which type of app we're building, which will be a web app or a mobile app. If we scroll down, we can see some more details about the characteristics of these apps. So let's select the mobile app and click Next. And then we need to decide which template to use to begin. By default, OutSystems has a phone template, a tablet template, and a universal template, which allows us to switch between the two. We downloaded the Quick App template, which is actually based on the phone template, so that we would have a few extra resources to help us get started a little faster. So let's select the Quick App template and click Next. Now we need to enter our app's basic info, like its name, PlanetHopper, and a description for it, like let's fly to Mars and beyond. Now if we look to the left, we see that it has grabbed some letters from our app's name and a default color from the palette below. And we can change this color, and it's using the letters and the color to create a default application icon. The color of the icon will also be the default background color of our app. Now we may want to choose something a little more exciting, so we've included an icon in the resource package. So if we click Upload Icon, if you've expanded the resources zip, then in the resources you will find an app icon. And if we click Open, it will upload that application icon. So we can see how the application icon looks, and in the eyedropper we can see that it has selected one of the background colors from the app icon, and this will now become the app's default background color that will be used throughout the application. So we now have a nice icon, we have a default color, and the rest of the basic info we need, so let's click Create App. It now gives us our app's info, including what the module name will be when it gets created. So by default, the module name will be the same as the app name, and then we need to select a module type. Because this is a mobile app, by default it will pick a mobile module. But there are also blank modules, which have no structure or starting point, and an extension module, which will be able to bring in external resources and make them available as part of the OutSystems environment. We can start with the default mobile module, and that will work fine. So here we have all of our information on the Development tab. There's also a Native Platforms tab. And in the Native Platform tab, we have the capability of generating an iOS or an Android app. So this would actually be generating the native code and the native package that we could use to install this on a phone. We could also use this package and upload it to the store so people could be able to download our app from the stores. We also see that besides generating the native app, we can also test the app using OutSystems Now. We've already got OutSystems Now downloaded onto our phone, and by clicking test, it will generate the QR code that will allow us to upload the app to OutSystems Now and begin testing it in our phone. So the Native Apps tab is a nice place to be able to generate or test our app. If we go back to Develop, we now have everything to get started, so let's click Create Module, and then it will begin opening the editing environment inside of Service Studio. So as part of our development environment, we have a tree on the right-hand side that has a number of different resources. In this case, we're looking at the user interface resources, but they could be process resources, logic resources, or data resources. And down below the resources, depending on what we're looking at, we can see the properties. So here we're seeing some of the properties of our PlanetHopper module. In the middle, we refer to this as the canvas, and this is where we'll begin editing, and we can begin building parts of the app by going to the toolbox and dragging and dropping widgets or tools into the space where we'll be editing the given resources. In this case, we're looking at the user interfaces, and we can see that we're in the main flow on the home screen. So if we look at the flows, here's the main flow, and we can see that the home screen is highlighted in bold. Now, there are different types of flows which are sets of screens. There are some common flows which have things like the splash and login screen, the main flow, and we mentioned that the template had onboarding and pin code resources. So those are here now as well. So we have everything we need to get the basic version of our app up and running. So let's click the one-click publish button. When we do this, we can see that the one-click publish tab opens at the bottom, and it says that it has begun loading everything to Service Center. So it takes the description of this app, sends it to the Service Center, which will then generate and compile the necessary code to run this application. So it generates C# code for the server-side code, JavaScript for the device-side code, and it creates SQL scripts to update the database. It then takes this code and these scripts, and it updates the SQL Server database, and it deploys the server-side code to IIS so our device can call the server and interact with it. Once it's ready, it tells us that the app is now available inside of our cloud server, and it has a URL at the end to describe exactly where it is. At this point, we can open it in the browser from the bottom, or we can go to the one-click publish button, which is now turned blue, and become the Open in Browser button. If I click the Open in Browser button, I can see the PlanetHopper app in the emulator, and after the splash screen, it takes us to the onboarding screens. We can also view this inside of OutSystems Now on our phone by pressing the QR code scanner, scanning the QR code, and getting it running in the phone. So from this point on, I'm going to adjust my environment so you're able to actually see both. So give me 1 second and then we'll preview this in both areas. So now we can see the app in OutSystems Now on the left and here in the emulator on the right. We're currently on the onboarding screens, and we're on the first screen, so we can swipe to the left to see the second item in the screen, and then we can swipe again to see the third item in the screen. And it's at this point that the Get Started button pops up. So this is the first stage of getting our app ready. Join me in the next session where we'll customize the onboarding experience.